And we was talking about the Knicks yesterday. The Knicks pulled off a crazy one last night, getting
Slipped in.
Mikal Bridges. Crazy, right? So how does that impact your 76ers? We'll talk about that next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit fanduel.com/locked on to get started. Well, man, the panic for some people has already started
Mm.
after last night. There was a report, Mitch. And first of all, look. I'm so getting into just hurried up and talking about this. I didn't even introduce us the right way.
That's
This is
okay.
my right hand man, John Mitchell, and I'm Keith Pompey, and we are the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. But last night,
Mm.
literally, Mitch, I was over my mom's house, over my sister's house, and the report comes, and my sister was talking. I was like, "Nah, this is a joke, right? Nah, what? I'm like, nah, this is a joke. This is a joke. This is a joke. Come to find out, I was like, whoa. And then that's when I, sent it in the group
Mm.
chat that we're a part of. And you saw what my man Akbar was like, is this real? Right. Right. But then my man's cousin was like, yeah, I salute you. He all excited. But the deal is, it's kind of like when you look at this, you say to yourself, what does this mean to the Sixers? And what I'm talking about, y'all, Mikal Bridges was traded from the Brooklyn Nets to uh, to New York. New York got Bogdanovich, and they also got 5 first-round picks. But Mikal Bridges makes the Knicks a way better player.
Yeah.
Team.
Yeah.
He's the perfect fit for them. And then the crazy part is afterwards, there were a lot of people saying, guess what? We good. Talking about Sixers fans. That
Mm-hmm.
means OG is going to come here. We can get OG.
Don't work that way.
Like, nah, they're trying to keep him.
Yeah.
So they're trying to go after the Celtics. But now when I look at this Knicks team, unless even if the 76ers got like if the Knicks keep OG and you know, I honestly believe that regardless of who the Sixers get, unless it's Jimmy Butler or Paul George right now, that and even if they do get him, they're gonna have a tough time
Yeah.
beating this team. I feel like the Knicks have catapulted them, so to speak, in regards to the pecking order in the division and the Eastern Conference. The Sixers are in a tough spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, they definitely are. New York did the right thing in trading for ex 76er Mikal Bridges and Philadelphia native Mikal Bridges. And you bring in the NBA's Iron Man of Iron Men. Not only is he the Iron Man of the Iron Men, he's also a damn good player. Uh, you know, becoming on the verge of being an elite 3-and-D man. It's you hate to see now that New York's got four ex Wildcats. It's like, man, they are just swooping into the backyard of Philadelphia after insulting Philadelphia with a first round exit in the playoffs. Um, and the Knicks is really they're young. They bring in a young guy, so the 76ers are still looking at, as we're believed to be, guys who were 34 and 35 years old. And meanwhile, the Knicks swoop in and get a young guy approaching his prime. So, and like you said, Keith, they're not, we're hunting for a championship, but right now we're hunting to avoid third place in the division. This is a very real possibility. There's going to be a lot happening, but it looks like chips have been, potential chips have been coming off the board. And, will Paul George, do the Knicks have some intel on Paul George that, hey, stay away from it? He's maybe something may work out with his hometown Clippers. I don't know. But yeah, the Knicks have really positioned themselves well. Now they've got you hear some rumblings about perhaps moving Julius Randle, perhaps keeping him. They're deep right now, though. If they get OG done, Randle, everybody gets healthy. The guy, obviously they're going to lose somebody. They can't keep everybody. But man, kudos to the Knicks for maneuvering in and going right across town and getting, and really adding a significant piece. The Knicks are saying with this acquisition that we are ready to win now. We're ready to, we're not going to sit back and watch the dynasty grow in Boston. We are going to be proactive about that. And what the Sixers do now, well, we know chips will come off the board. Chips, people they've been looking at. So, do they make a trade? It really puts shines the light on Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey has now got to do something.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think if I was them, I wouldn't get rid of Julius Randle. I think the one guy that's going to be the odd man out might be Isaiah Hartenstein, just because I don't think they'll be able to afford him. Right. I think if you're really trying to win and this and that, and I get the whole Julius Randle thing, but if you're trying to win and you're going all in and you're trying to get a chip, I think you may need that offense that Julius Randle can create. Mm-hmm. I look at it because my thing is, who are you going to get? I don't like OG at the 4. I think he's a little undersized, and I think that, he's a great defender. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I feel like he's a little undersized. Now, maybe you can go with Precious Achiuwa or someone like that at the 4. But at the same time, I'm looking at it as if I'm the coach and I know that he loves playing guys a lot of minutes and stuff like that. That's his forte. Yeah. But you saw how you wore people down in the playoffs. Yeah. But I'm telling you, if they keep Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson gets back in shape, and you got Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, what's the other Villanova dude? DiVincenzo. Mm-hmm. All 3 of them dudes coming off the bench.
Yes, it's
with a starting lineup of Brunson, Bridges, OG, Randall, and
dog squad.
That's a dog squad. That's a deep team. Oh, and we ain't even talking about the one dude who was hitting the threes against the Sixers.
Oh,
the guy from West Virginia. So, I'm just saying, dude. They look, that's a good team, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good team.
It's a really good team.
Yeah, they got non-legitimate players, dude.
Yeah.
Non-legitimate players. And maybe that can help some things out. But I know the coach likes playing people a lot. He likes doing stuff like that. But they go 9 deep. If you get, I don't know. I feel bad. When I saw that, again, they got to keep OG. But if they keep OG, and I'm looking at it like the Sixers are in trouble.
Yeah.
The Sixers are in trouble.
Yeah, there's no denying it, man. The Knicks made a statement in the first round. And, again, they were injured in the second round. The injuries just completely caught up to them. But he's not going to have to grind those players down next year the way they get ground. He typically grinds them down. He did the same thing. In Chicago, he grounded the players would ground down. But Yeah, they're firmly. I mean, Knicks have ascended. Are very are they're in the elite tier of this league right now. Maybe be painful to say it, and we'll talk about this and some other things a little bit more after we get back from the break. But right now, let's talk about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. It's the formula for winning championships. Is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. That's superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. So tell me, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? You think you've heard screaming and hollering? Wait till you hear Stephen A. Smith today screaming about Mikal Bridges. You're going to have to turn that volume down with all that shouting. How about you make the switch to Locked On Sports today? A free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you each and every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming and hollering. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single solitary day.
As my man always says, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. So what's next for the Sixers, man? Like, maybe I said they're in trouble. I should, maybe that's a little bit too strong to say. I think that they're behind that team, but they definitely got to make some moves now.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to. And, I feel like you got to make the right move. I think it all starts with the draft, whatever they do. They have some options and things like that. I'm pretty sure they got a plan. But they'll see how things go. But, what's next for them, man, in your opinion? Like, for Morey and what can they do? I mean, to get back to relevancy.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they had that 55, 65 million in cap space, they're relevant. They don't go, they're not going into a gunfight with a knife. It's just that, you've the whole Paul George thing sounds a little bit flaky now. And let's be quite honest, just judging by what you hear out there, while we know Paul George is an elite player, a future Hall of Fame player, he's old, and there are going to be a lot of people and there are a lot of people that you read the comments in the comment section under this podcast. People are not necessarily on board with bringing in this guy. Lots of people are like, stay away from Paul George, stay away from him. But if that's what you do, if you do stay away from him, you've got to, you've got this draft coming now. Are you going to keep the picks? Are you going to package them in a deal for somebody? They're at the tipping point with this roster. I'm not saying it's all. I don't want to sound like I'm all gloom and doom, Keith, but they are in a situation where they're trying now to stay relevant. And I have a funny feeling, because again, the Knicks may have guys like Leon Rose and Worldwide West, man, they may have some intel that maybe the Sixers don't have, which is why they said, you know what, we're gonna swing a hard left and go for Mikal Bridges. So again, man, I've always been critical of Daryl Morey, and at some point, you have to make something happen. You can't be involved in a reactive trade because you have players that detest playing for the organization, players that call you a liar, players who say, I'll never play for the organization again. You know, you wonder, is that what the 20s are going to be about now? You know, players who don't want to be here now. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see, man. You know, the draft is here, and again, you know, Daryl Morey has to do something legitimate, impactful. You know,
Well, here's part of the problem is like when we look at it, and I think this is the frustration with Sixers fans, amongst Sixers fans, not with Sixers fans, amongst Sixers fans. I mean, we go back to last summer, and you look at the trades that were happening. You look and you see where Dame Lillard says, "I want to be traded,"
yeah,
and he doesn't want to come to Philadelphia.
right,
His representation like, nah, he ain't coming there. So you look at the Dame Lillard situation. So he goes to Milwaukee. And then what do they send? Then they send Drew Holiday and all these other guys to Portland. You know, Marcus Smart goes to Memphis. You know, it's like a lot of these different moves keep happening, and the Sixers are always on the outside looking in.
yeah, yeah,
And you know, the thing is, last year was all about, well, we can't get it was all about saving this cap space for this summer. Well, this summer has hit,
yeah.
and Alex Caruso, as time is now, the next thing you know, you hear about OKC making a move for Alex Caruso.
Yeah,
Right? You hear about Mikal Bridges, who is a great fit for the Knicks, who's younger than Paul George, you might add, right? And say the Knicks, and then the players love him on that team, the Nova Knicks.
yeah,
So it's like, come on, when are the Sixers going to do something?
yeah,
And I think that's where the frustration lies. And what's next is they got to make a splash. And the thing is, you know, Daryl Morey is giving himself an out, talking about, yeah, we want to be patient. We want to do this. We want to do that. And he brought up how the Toronto Raptors, that year they won the chip,
oh Lord,
that they waited for to get Marc Gasol like at the trade deadline.
right,
But the difference is the Sixers fans are seeing all these other teams willing and dealing,
yeah,
and no one wants to become here, it seems like. And I guess I mean, we go all even back to Bradley Beal last summer.
yeah,
Like before everybody now everyone is saying everyone's trashing Bradley Beal, right? But let's not forget, a couple of years ago, the Sixers, he was a guy that they coveted, that they liked, and they couldn't get him, right?
yeah,
So it's one of those things where I'm saying is Phoenix, Phoenix, Phoenix was able to make that move. Other teams are able to make moves and get people. Utah was able to trade Donovan Mitchell to Cleveland. Like, it's a lot of dudes. It's just a lot of stuff, and they couldn't just do it. You know. So right then and there. So right then and there. That's the problem. That's the problem right there, that they can't do it. That they can't get it.
yeah, yeah. Man, I apologize for that, man. That was my computer going crazy. But yeah, you know, they're at the tipping point. And again, you can't, you know, I'm not going to say because of what the Knicks have done, you have to go out and be reactionary. You just have to go out and you have to make something happen. You know, and what it is, it doesn't have to be drastic, but it has to be good, because let's be quite honest, you know, that whole thing, like the whole Gasol thing situation. The Sixers have a limit. You know, they're in their window with Joel Embiid. You know, and you have to operate like that. Whatever you do, you've got to maximize the players alongside him for the next 3 years, because after that, you know, and you know, you don't know what you got. And you know, like you said, with fans sitting around wondering, you know, why are the 76ers not being very active? I mean, they set up for this summer. You know, they held off on the Tyrese Maxey signing to ensure that they had that cap space. But that time is here. The time is now. And they always seem to be arriving at the party a little bit late. You know, after the best, after the DJs had his best session, the Sixers show up. That's it appears problematic. Um, and again, if guys like Butler and if guys like Paul George are not available to them, or if one of those guys is not on the roster right now, it looks like you arrived at this point in free agency and just whiff, and you can't just keep kicking the can down the street, because Joel Embiid's window is limited. It's not the long window we expected it to be. That we would like for it to be. Put it that way.
Yeah, but the funny thing is though, yeah, I mean we'll talk about we'll talk about that when we get back. Like you can't you can't keep kicking a can down the road, and as much as people will think it is, we'll also talk about the importance of why you can't kick the can down the road when we get back from this little break.
Talking about FanDuel. I love sports. I love them so much I never want them to end. But now the NBA playoffs have wound down and completed. We've got fewer games. And the sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to fanduel.com/locked on and start making the most out of your summer. That's FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Do it today.
So here's the thing, Mitch. A lot of people were saying if they don't do it now, that you can basically hold off and wait another time. The problem is once you put Tyrese Maxey on that his new once he gets his new deal, he signs his deal and he's on the books.
Mm-hmm.
You lose all that cap space to go get another max player.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the salary is going to increase and going to do this, but with the salaries going to increase, other teams are going to be able to give max players more money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the max is going to get greater. So the time is now. Like this summer, this is when you got to, if you're really trying to win, if you're trying to do it on Joel Embiid's timeline, the time is now because you may not be in this position again.
Yeah.
Unless Embiid, unless, it's time for Embiid to retire or something like that. So that's why the time is now.
Yeah. Yeah, the window is, man, they have to optimize their situation right now. And again, this pursuit of Paul George has been something we've been hearing about it even before the season ended, well before the season ended, the regular season, to say nothing about the playoffs. And and here's the thing, with Sixers fans, some will be happy with Paul George. I mean, I know some people really want him, but I know a lot of people out there who are just like saying, if Paul's he's an old guy, he's and he's still, he still plays at an elite level, but you get around 34, 35, you start to get a little bit punchy, man. The body doesn't bounce back as quickly as it used to, and your competition is young. Your competition in your division. I mean, that division is going to be hell to watch. It's going to be a great division to watch next year. You wonder, does Boston have sort of a championship hangover next year? Who knows? I tend to think they won't have much of one. You tend to see that more in baseball and in the NFL than you do in the NBA. So, that window, they know what their window is. They can't. What if they mess around next season and get another 45, 55 game season out of Joel Embiid, which isn't even at the bar to be an MVP candidate. They have tethered themselves to the Joel Embiid dock, and they're anchored they're anchored in that bay. And I think that we mentioned some, maybe they get a DeJounte Murray, maybe they pull off a trade.
But I don't even think right now, no offense to DeJounte Murray, but what the Knicks just did, if you're trying to compete in the arms race, you got to go get a heavy hitter, man. Like, no matter how you just got to get an A-list type of dude now. Man.
Yeah.
Like I don't get me wrong, I'm a DeJounte Murray fan. I like him. I like him as a person. I like how he plays. But I'm here to tell you, bro, like what New York is doing, and it's not done. Like the Sixers can still OG, but that's what they need, man. Like I don't even know if, like, I think you can go and you can say we're going to get Brandon Ingram, and basically say like, okay, we got Brandon Ingram, we got a name guy, but is he really going to help you beat this team? You know what I mean? Like, is he really going to help you beat Boston or beat the Knicks right about now? You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, that's the problem. They got to go and get somebody. They need a power, man. Like, they got to they need to go and try to make a trade for Jimmy Butler and all that. And I get what you're saying. The problem is with these dudes is their availability. Yeah. Right. But at the same time, they got to make a splash. They do. They got to make a splash because you're right. Joel might be hurt. He might do this, do that. But I feel like they need to make a splash.
Yeah. Some of the luster has come off of this offseason because a rival has signed a player that used to be, who once put a 76ers cap on at the draft, whose mother worked in the building. So once again, that horrid culture of the 76ers rears its head. And you're right, they do need to make a splash, and nobody's going to be satisfied because if they do manage to bring in Jimmy Butler, then there's going to have to be an extension. And people are going to say, yeah, you got Jimmy Butler here, but now you'll be paying an old guy an extension. But the Sixers can't really focus on the outside noise. They have to go ahead and get something out of this summer where they had $65 million in cap space available to them. You just can't let it slip away.
Yeah, they can. They can. I mean, it's just gonna be crazy.
I mean, New York is really shaking. They've really shaken things up, man. They've really shaken
the Knicks. Yeah. And it was crazy because when they first got the job, everybody like, man, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Bang. It seemed like just yesterday they were a failing franchise, expelling Charles Oakley from the building. I know, right? Now, hey man, they're back on track.
Exactly. But look, y'all, I just want to say, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day and the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Well, today's going to be a busy day. I'm pretty sure people are going to be tuned to what's going on on social media before the draft, and then they're going to watch the draft so we can see what the Sixers do and see where Bronny James goes and all these other people. So we'll see. But we want to thank y'all for listening and have a blessed day. Peace.
Have a great one, y'all.